How to start a podcast with no money? That's actually a very smart question to ask. If you're thinking about setting up a podcast for your business, making your business the showcase of the podcast, it's really good to maybe dip your toes in the water without spending a lot of money on equipment. Don't get me wrong, you can spend a lot of money on equipment, but how do you get started with no money? Perfect question. Hopefully this will get you started. By the end of this video, you're going to know a bunch of the options you have out there for microphones, editing software, hosting, podcast hosting, all the things that you can possibly do. Yeah, a couple things you might have to shell out a couple bucks for. It won't be too bad, that's for sure, but you can get started with virtually no money. Let's dive in. Hi, I'm Nick Natarella with AdWise Creative. So you want to start a podcast for your business, but you really don't want to sink a lot of money into it at first. What happens if it turns out to not be the right thing? Perfectly good scenario. I get you, and I don't blame you. So let's start off with a couple things that you can start with immediately and for free and probably within reach right now. A lot of folks overlook one little simple device. This guy can do a lot of recording for you. Now, when it comes to audio and when it comes to podcasting, I really wouldn't make this my first choice. You can do it. There's a little hassle in trying to get it from here into your computer if you want to edit it. You might be able to edit it right here on your phone. If you can do it that way, so much the better. But when it comes to actually true good quality audio, in Hollywood, for example, I've heard this saying two different ways. When it comes to a movie, audio is 51% of the movie. I've also heard audio is 80% of the movie, depending on who you hear it from. What does that tell you? That audio is a very important element to video. And people will bail on a bad video because of its sound before they'll bail on a bad video because of its poor quality of video. Now, if audio is so important to a movie, to a YouTube channel, to a video, to motion pictures, how important do you think audio is to a podcast? Yes, it is very important. If you've got a lot of background noise, if you've got a lot of all kinds of noises that could possibly pop up, and it's not an element that enhances your podcast, people are going to bail very quickly. Poor audio levels, background noises, hisses, pops, clicks, that kind of thing that don't get resolved or removed, people will bounce right away very quickly, even if the topic is perfect for them and you cover it beautifully. If they can't hear you, or if they've got to fight through the audio to hear you, you're not going to be heard. So be sure to get your audio squared away from the beginning. One thing that does come across pretty good now, it's not great, but it's coming across pretty good. Let's say you want to do this in Zoom. If you wanted to record this on Zoom, a lot of those HD cameras now that go with your computer, they have some decent audio. Not to mention you'll be recording right into your computer, so that makes it right there available and ready to be edited as soon as you're done. Now, for the editing software, there are a few freebies out there that are very powerful. The first one that springs to mind, in fact, you probably heard it. If you spend any time on podcasts, chances are you have heard the results of this particular software. It's called Audacity, and it seems to be the one that pops up with the quickest search. It has been around for, dare I say, decades? I'm thinking back to my radio days, and that was decades ago. So, and people were talking about it back then. It's been around for a very long time. It is a very powerful all-in-one suite for editing audio. It's not for generating audio. There are a lot of audio programs where you can actually make or build or create drum tracks and saxophone riffs and guitar and bass and all that kind of stuff, and then mix it down and enhance it and make it your song. Others are literally just for editing. They don't have that instrument generating capability. And that's pretty much what you want, is just the one that does the editing, and Audacity does a great job for it. You have individual files, sound files, that end up being organized in a multi-track editor. So you have your voice on 1, your guest on number 2, your background music on 3, your intro on 4, your outro on 5. Anything that you could possibly imagine could get a separate track and have its own set of controls and its own set of elements that you want to add or subtract to it for like EQ or compression or reverb or something like that. All of those can be applied on a track-by-track basis. It really is a very powerful program, and it's open source, so it is free to get started. You can start with that, gosh, in the next 5 minutes or so. And we cover all kinds of stuff on this channel, anything from cameras to microphones to editing techniques, specific things that you can do with either Audacity or any other program. We cover them here to get you up and running quickly and sounding fantastic. So be sure to like and subscribe. If there's anybody you know that is starting their business podcast, let them know about this channel. Maybe we can help them as well. Now, once you've got everything organized, you've done your episode research and you've done your editing and all that kind of stuff, all this stuff you've got set up, you've done your recording, you've done your editing, you're ready to go. What you need to understand is the relationship between a podcast host and, say, Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Think of it as a website. You know, websites are hosted, say, with Bluehost or HostGator or some other place, and they're viewed, say, on your computer with a browser. It's a very similar relationship with podcasts. Podcasts, the actual audio, is stored at a podcast hosting service. That would be something like Buzzsprout or Libsyn or Podbean. There are dozens of them out there. Castos. Those are all places. Notice you really haven't heard of those titles before, have you? But you know about Spotify. You know about Apple Podcasts. It's the hosting company where you're going to actually store your audio files. They connect to everybody else. So think of the podcast's hosts like website hosts, and then think about, say, Spotify and Apple Podcasts as your web browser. Those are the places where the sound is actually played and listened to. I told you we're going to try and do this on a budget, if not for free. There are a couple of them out there that do have a free package. The limitations would be how long the episode is or how long the duration for how long you can have it stored on their servers. For example, they give you an hour free a month, and you're going to do some 15-minute podcasts, okay? So month one, you upload episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Great, there's your hour, 15, 30, 45, 60. Now, when you go to record number 5 and upload it, number 1 drops off or gets deleted. 6, number 2 goes. 7, number 3 goes. That's not exactly how you want your podcast to be archived, by being deleted. That's not how we want to do this. A lot of them also have a free web page to go with it. That's a bonus. But to really get some traction on your podcast, you're going to want those episodes to go back in time. So you might have to shell out $10, $15, $20, $25 a month to get the hosting in order to keep your back episodes. Now, if this is going to be an experiment, this is going to be something you're just going to try and hone your skill over the first few episodes, fine. Knock yourself out. Well, that's a great way to approach it. Just know that those are going to disappear. You'll have the originals on your computer. They just won't be available for listening on the hosting site anymore. And the final step to all of this is, of course, promoting your podcast. It's the funniest thing. Now that you've got your audio squared away, you've got all this graphics work to do. You've got little cards and little announcements and stuff like that to promote either through Facebook or Instagram or something like that. Here's the latest episode that's dropping on Tuesday, that kind of thing. Those will need links back to your podcast, but you've got to get that graphics done. There you can have a free account, and that is through a company called Canva. Go to Canva, short for Canvas, canva.com, and you can make all those graphics. In fact, anything from Facebook to YouTube to Instagram to LinkedIn, you name it, wherever you want to promote it, chances are they have a template already. All you have to do is maybe add your picture, add your guest's picture maybe, and change some dates or something like that, and they've got podcast templates ready to go already. And you're done, you download it, promote it wherever you want. And then another thing that you can do to promote it is take the original podcast and chop it up into small chunks and use that audio as little teasers. The little one I like to use is called headliner.app. Headliner.app. You can upload your audio and they'll give you this video background. You've got several choices to play with, but they all have like sound waves, jumping sound waves and stuff like that. There's a little bit of movement to it to help catch somebody's eye. And you put in your date, your episode number, your guest, or whatever the topic, the title of the episode is, and all that kind of stuff. And again, a small package, you can get several of those, get a handful of them for free. So 2 great ways to promote: Canva graphics, doing all kinds of graphics and promotion through Canva, and also headliner.app, headliner.app. Now, along the same lines, I've got a free gift for you. Look, we've got more that's free. It's called Engaging Your Audience: The 3 Secrets to Skyrocket Your Podcast Success. This basically covers what a lot of people overlook. Many people, would you believe, sync their podcast in the first 2 words, and I hear it all the time. Get your copy of Engaging Your Audience and get the mind shift, make the mind shift that you need to make when it comes to speaking on a podcast and being able to connect with your audience. So get your free copy. There's a link in the description down below, and you can get yours in the next couple of minutes. I'm Nick Natarella with AdWise Creative. Thank you for watching.